In our last clip, we looked at Mark chapter 2:27. Let me read that to you again. He said to them, "The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath." We saw that that's a chiastic statement. It's a chiastic doublet. Now, part of the reason that we study this topic is to see the beauty of Scripture. It also helps us to determine that a translation is nicely done and nicely prepared. And it helps us to see comparisons that God wanted us to see when we made these passages. When we look at Galatians chapter 3 in some studies to come, you're going to see how beautifully these things interrelate. You're also going to see how nested chiasms work. And you're going to see also how you can use a chiasm to determine the context of what we're really talking about. Now, you probably, or you might be watching this site as kind of a skeptic and saying, well, all right, so anybody can write that way. When we get into very deep and involved chiasms, I'm going to challenge you to write something that way. And when we see how books chiastically compare, I'm going to say, so anybody can write that way? Well, we'll see. We'll just see how good you are. Just think about an event that happened in your life recently and see if you can relate that chiastically to where you don't sound like an idiot. So let's say that yesterday you washed your car, and someone said to you, why don't you write that chiastically? Why don't you write it like a chiasm? Okay, well, let's try it. Let's say, so yesterday I washed my car. Here we go. My car was dirty. I took it to the car wash. I washed it very well. I washed all of the car. At the car wash, where I was doing this, all the dirt was gone. Something like that. Now, that's a chiasm. It was a lot of work, and it didn't seem like it had very much to say except I was doing that. Now, take your whole day. Tell the entire story. So once we start to look at that, you think, well, this is very, very difficult to do. So one of the things that you can consider if you say, well, is the Scripture put together by just a group of scholars somewhere, or is this way beyond the scope and the capability of scholars, human scholars? You probably are going to hopefully you'll be compelled to ask that question. I think you're going to enjoy this journey if you'll take it with me.